media. As consumers, we are bombarded by it at every turn, like the Incredible Hulk being bombarded by gamma rays. But what makes some media endure, while others are banished to the forgotten black hole of obscurity, never to be heard from again? Who or what decides this? Hetero life mates Steve and Yahel want to know, and they want to know now. This is Obscurity Now. And what's up, Obscurians? It's time for another episode of Obscurity Now, the show that takes a look at weird and almost forgotten pieces of media. Then we decide if they should be remembered for all of human history or tossed in the black void of obscurity, never to be heard from again. My name is Steve, and with me is a man who I'm going to reach over in order to pull myself up. It's
Yahel. Steve, I am immortal and will haunt you. I'll be resurrected in your nightmares.
Yeah, that's the better part of that speech. Plus, I think I messed it up. I wrote it down word for word, but it's like it's in the bottom of my notes, so I couldn't get there in time. Okay, here it is. I'll reach up and pull you down while I pull up and over you. And that's it. That's word for word. I wrote it down. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are watching a random episode of Thunder in Paradise. It is season 1, episode 4, titled See Quentin, and it's a Yahel pick. Yahel, why are we watching another episode of Thunder in Paradise?
Well, first of all, I don't like the tone in which you were asking that. I mean, just because it's Thunder in Paradise, baby, and the description of the episode sounded really, really funny. And, we had just covered another Steve and Borden Sting acted thing. And, yeah, I just remembered this. He's actually in a couple episodes, maybe 3 of Thunder in Paradise. And this is technically like the second part of another episode, because the episode before this is like when they, I guess, arrest Hammerhead. But I know that this is the zanier one. So
zany? What are you talking about? Nothing in this movie seems coked up at all. It seems perfectly logical.
No, everything is normal.
I mean, when you open with two men descending in a watery tube into like a weird Sequest-esque like prison, I mean, it's totally normal to me, at least.
Very, very normal. Very normal, Steve.
So, let's see. Dear listener, make sure you check out our past Thunder in Paradise episodes. Yeah, we're big marks for Thunder in Paradise. We did the pilot movie, and I swear we have to be the only podcast who's ever covered the CDI game, which don't you like sleep with it in your bed or something like that?
Yeah. Actually, Steve, good news. I have finally figured out how to get I think I mentioned last episode that I got the PC version. I bought it.
Yep.
It's pretty rare, and it took me a little bit, but I got it.
You sold some of your sperm in order to pay for it, right?
Yes. Little do they know that thanks to my vasectomy, that sperm is worthless. Yeah. Oh, I wonder if could that be a racket I run? Like just donating my useless sperm to sperm banks, and I never have to worry about a child coming back.
I mean, there's got to be a way to, using science that they could probably figure out that.
I mean, there is literally a $60 sperm check kit that I buy off Amazon because you're supposed to make sure like your vas deferens didn't heal up or something, like after 6 months. Anyways, for $60, yeah, you can buy a test on Amazon. But they're not going to be expecting that, baby. They're not going to be expecting that somebody with a useless sperm is coming to make donations.
Wow, you're worse than Hammerhead himself, a.k.a. Steve
And if they
Borden.
catch you, it's like, I didn't know. I'm like, there's no proof. There's so much proof, like every episode of this podcast.
Right, exactly.
But how did we start talking about this?
I have no idea.
Anyway. Yeah, the CDI game. So
yes,
yeah,
love it.
I got the PC version of it fully running. There was an issue I had because you have to like switch discs, so it was kind of hard to get it to figure out how to do that in DOSBox. But last night, played through it. It's not as good as the CDI version in terms of like the video quality and stuff, but I was actually part of the reason why I didn't see that you were ready to record is because I was writing up the instructions for how to play it, because I'm gonna end up dumping it probably later today on archive.org with the instructions, so anybody will be able to play Thunder in Paradise now.
Nice.
It's free from the CDI.
The retro video game community salutes you. I'm sure. Just give it time. Hulk Hogan's lawyers will be calling you soon enough. It doesn't work for me, brother. You dumping my game onto the internet so anyone can play for free, brother.
Seen it. Hated it. It was okay, I guess. Better in the 90s. Seen it. There's nothing I like on TV anymore. I'm done with movies and television. I'm gonna go old school. Read a good book. What the?
Rob, you don't want that. You at least want something with pictures, don't you?
Do I?
Well, then you should try comic books, especially Escape to Earth, issue 1.
Whoa. It does have pictures in it. And cool artwork, too. And drawings. And coloring. And dinosaurs. Whoa. It kind of reminds me of that movie franchise, Jurassic World. Starring Chris. That was awesome. But it's so short, I finished it so fast.
Rob, you idiot. Don't you know how comic books work? There's at least second issue, and a third one is on the way at Kickstarter.
Get out of town!
It's true. In fact, you can go to Kickstarter right now and buy copies 1 and 2 and support issue 3.
And how? So I guess I'll go on Kickstarter right now because I want to see what happens in part 3. I should probably read part 2 first, though.
You should buy multiple copies of both parts.
Oh. Okay.
You can expect to get your books by March 2024.
Whoa, that's one of my favorite months of the year.
Mine too!
What? But what if I'm a weirdo who likes to read digital comics?
Don't worry, we have a digital catch-up tier as well.
Oh. So what actually happens in this book? I only looked at the pictures.
Well, it's about an intergalactic thief who falls to Earth and has to team up with a woman who can control dinosaurs with her mind.
Whoa, that's pretty cool. It's just a story I was looking for. Wow, that was great. I can't wait for issues 2 and 3 to arrive in the mail by March 2024. In the meantime, I have some books to burn. They mean nothing to me now.
Yeah, day and a half left on Escape to Earth issue 3. Got a lot of great tiers, and if you're listening to the show and you're already backed and I'm not mentioning your name, thank you. So yeah, it basically ends tomorrow. And even though we are funded, it's just a small portion of the money that I actually need in order to get anywhere near breaking even. But that's all on my end. Just a little inside baseball, if you will. Okay, are you ready to, dare I use the pun again, dive further deeper? I think that's redundant, into Thunder in Paradise, Season 1, Episode 4, See Quentin?
Yeah, let's do it.
Welcome to your feature presentation.
Alrighty. So yeah, once again, make sure you checked out our past episodes. And since we've already talked about a lot of the people who already sort of created the show, we'll just go over them briefly. So of course, Thunder in Paradise, it ran for 1 season, 22 episodes from March 25th, 1994 to November 27th, 1994. And Yahel has seen every single episode 60 times
I don't think I
each.
have.
No, I know. I know I haven't. And it's created by Michael Burke, Douglas Schwartz, and Gregory J. Bonin, who a lot of those guys worked on Baywatch and Baywatch Nights. And once again, the episode we are watching is Season 1, Episode 4, See Quentin, and it premiered April 8th, 1994. And I will say, just 1 year prior, a little show called Sequest premiered. You think this episode took any kind of inspiration from Sequest?
I don't know.
Oh,
I feel like
what? Of course
the
it
dolphin
did.
talking thing
Yeah.
is, I don't know.
No, it
like
did.
I feel like but Steve, that's like saying that Sequest took inspiration from Flipper. Like it's a trope that's been around forever, like talking to dolphins and having them help humans.
It's not
on
just the
TV
dolphins.
shows.
It's the fact. All right, there's a kid there. They're underwater. It's all.
There's always a kid on Thunder in Paradise.
Yeah, well, it's usually his obnoxious daughter.
Yeah, but that's not like the first. I mean, the CDI game. There's a fucking JT from Step by Step is in it.
Right. I mean, I just can't believe you don't think that this was inspired by Sequest.
I don't think so. And wasn't Sequest after this?
No, it was a year before. I checked it. It was 1993.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes me think it's even less likely because I mean, this stuff was produced probably either right when Sequest was maybe about to air then, because like especially then it took a while to produce TV, so I kind of doubt it.
Well, you let us know, dear listeners, either here in the chat or in the comments, if this is inspired by Sequest, because I think it is. Anyway, hey, who we have here? Smoke Monster. He did his research. You're darn right I did. So anyway, here's the synopsis for the episode. Spence and Brew's arch-enemy Hammerhead, a dangerous criminal, takes over the underwater prison he's imprisoned in. And that's how Yahel pitched this episode to me on that synopsis alone. And I was all in.
Yeah.
So this is directed by one of the co-creators, Gregory J. Bonin. He directed 57 episodes of Baywatch, 2 episodes of Baywatch Nights, and some other show that I've never heard of called She Spies. You ever hear of She Spies?
I don't think I have.
I bet it's about a woman spy. But this was written by John Hill, who I guess more of a veteran, didn't have a huge career. He wrote Quantum Leap and L.A. Law. And, I mean, that's basically it for everyone behind the camera. Who are some of the thespians who brought this episode to life?
How dare you use air quotes for these fine actors? Well, I mean, obviously Hulk Hogan is in this. I don't think he needs to be. We need to explore his career.
But I never noticed that his full name on this show. Of course, they just call him Spence. His full name is Randolph J. Hurricane Spencer. Like, what a name.
Spencer's actually like his last name.
Right. Just like my brother,
weird.
Spencer is his middle name. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
I mean, was your family inspired by Hulk Hogan the same way? You think this episode was inspired by Sequest?
They were inspired by Sequest, of course.
Oh, your family?
Yes, of course they were.
I see.
No, I don't know why but both my other brothers go by their middle names. It's just a little fun fact, if you will. But anyway, take it away.
So Smoke Monster in the chat said that he used to live near the hotel that Hulk is standing in front of, the Coronado, which I guess is what this was filmed around.
Smoke Monster is a Florida guy?
Maybe at some point I think he might have been. But anyways, so yeah, we playing, like, I guess number 2 on the call sheet is Chris Lemon, the son of
Jack Lemon.
Jack Lemon, thank you. God, I always want to say the news anchor. He said that's San Diego, but Thunder in Paradise was filmed in
Florida. Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, unless they might have started filming it.
I mean, that maybe there's
out there and then moved it to MGM, but yeah, it was filmed at MGM.
Yeah, it was filmed there, and then also at the very. I was reading in the trivia section for the pilot. They filmed at a hotel in St. Petersburg, Florida, for some reason. And also, speaking of the trivia, Chris Lemon here blames this show for him never having any other work after this.
Yeah. Well, you know, he burned bright so quickly on this show. But he says that, but I mean, he's in stuff. I mean, the last thing he was in 2022. And I know he's done theater after this as well. So
There's the
I mean,
problem.
he doesn't have a lot of credits. Don't get me wrong, but
Right.
he's got
Well,
some.
I think the actual phrase is he blames that show for his phone to stop ringing for a while or something like that.
Mm. It looks like he's in some weird Roe versus Wade conspiracy theory movie.
Nice. Awesome.
Oh God. I don't think that's awesome. But yeah, this is sorry, I'm distracted by some of the people in this other movie. Anyways, moving right along, we've got Carol Alt who plays Kelly LaRue. She's kind of like their friend, and
I heard she
runs the
changed her
bar.
name to Carol Alt Right and is going to be in that Roe v. Wade movie.
Possibly. Anyways, she's had an all right career, but I don't think anything you'll really recognize her. And I know that she was in Private Parts, the Howard Stern movie, but she's had a bunch of small to medium roles and stuff. Then we've got Ashley Gorel, who plays the daughter of Hulk Hogan. I can't remember. I think Jessica. She didn't do a lot of stuff. She's only in 5 episodes of Baywatch, actually. Excuse me. She's in 19 episodes of Thunder in Paradise, but also in 5 episodes of Baywatch. She was also on 21 episodes of something called Second Noah.
Oh, you don't remember that show? They made a big deal about that because a lot of it was filmed at Busch Gardens back in the day.
Oh, yeah. Well, that makes sense because it looks like there's a lot of animals in the show.
Yes.
All right. Well, moving right along, we've got Sting, aka Steve Borden, like we mentioned. You might know him from wrestling and Shutter Speed.
Yeah, that's to me, he's just the guy from Shutter Speed now.
Yeah. Heidi Mark plays Allison, who's kind of like this nerd girl. I'm not really going to go over what else she's in. Then we've got Brutus the Barber Beefcake playing Brutus.
Well, let's call him by his real
Jimmy
name,
Hart?
Ed Leslie.
Yeah. Jimmy Hart plays Jimmy Hart. Jim Neidhart plays Kowalski. I don't know why he doesn't get to just be called Neidhart,
Right.
but I guess because he's not Hulk Hogan's buddy. That's why, I guess.
Well,
But,
why is he even
and
there
also-
if they weren't friends at the time? I wonder.
I mean, he's not like
A little bit.
Hulk Hogan's best
Right.
friend.
He's not carrying
the
the
way-
weed like Ed Leslie does.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly,
okay, gotcha.
exactly. And the other person of note, I guess, is Patrick McCanney. Macney. I feel like Macney. Anyways, he plays like this aristocratic hotel owner, Edward. He's been in quite a few things, including this is Spinal Tap. Did you recognize him from that?
Yeah, I think I remember. Yeah, him being in there. It's
Yeah, he's like Sir Dennis in Spinal Tap, but yeah, so he was in I mean this dude's been in tons and tons of stuff. He's not in anything these days because he's dead. But
Wait, actually, I heard he's going to be in the Weekend at Bernie's remake.
Oh God. The last thing he did was something called The Low Budget Time Machine in 2003.
That's the actual name?
Yeah.
Oh, that might be worth a look.
I know it's kind of a great title,
Yeah,
but I have
yeah.
a feeling it's just bad.
Probably.
Well, I don't. These pictures look real weird. Actually, it's only 48 minutes. Maybe we should watch this.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, and that's really our cast. That's important. I mean, I know there was the warden also. I guess I should go over who played him. Although I don't even remember that guy's name.
Let's see. Was it?
I know Ricky the son is played by Jonathan Buck. Emily Woodward plays the doctor, Helen Weston. So yeah, Tom Nowicki plays Thomas Weston. He's like the warden. And I didn't recognize him at all, but he's been in a ton of things. He's got 155 credits. He's still acting. Yeah, he's still going
So
strong.
Tom Nowicki's career took off where Chris Lemons took a dive. How about that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, shall we talk through this episode then?
Yeah, let's get into
All
it.
right. Aren't you the one who's doing it?
Oh, that's right. I wrote the
Wow. Oh, wow.
That's right. That's why I have this document in front of me.
Wow.
I'm completely sober today. That's the problem. Okay, so we start off with a CG underwater shot of what looks like a futuristic alien
Looks like
base
something from
underwater.
Sequest. Yes, yes, it
No, it
does. Yes, it
doesn't. It looks
does.
like it's more like a space show. It just think of like an alien base, but it's underwater. Anyways, it's very sci-fi-ish. There's a kid.
Just like
So this is
Lucas.
the
Just like
prison.
Lucas. Yep.
Yep. There's a kid running around, but not just like Lucas, because Lucas has a job on Sequest. Like he's supposed to
No,
be
you're
there.
right. There is no reason other than the reason they come up with for this warden to have his family in a prison, like staying on a prison. It's
Yeah.
so ridiculous.
So yeah, anyway, so there's like this is kind of like the main set that we see of the prison. But all of the sets for the prison I thought were like really
Oh,
good and
I
looked really
loved
expensive.
it.
I was shocked.
Yeah, I was trying to. There's like no information
I
about.
know I couldn't find out anything either about where they shot
Yeah,
it
they
or
must
who
have
made these sets.
stumbled across this. Like, oh, somebody made this set for something. Can we use it, please? Because like,
It's got to be that.
yeah, and it's crazy because as we're about to see, not to get ahead of you, like we're gonna see Hogan and some other criminal descend through this watery tube. That's how they send the criminals into this prison, and like they built
Yeah, and
that.
that's how you leave also.
Yeah, yeah, they built that like for this show. That just doesn't see.
There's no way.
Yeah.
Like, and it's such a big tube, so it's like a giant. I don't know, man. Like well, it's got to be at least 2 stories because there's 2 levels to the set,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes up, but beyond that, yeah. And this like thing like fills with water. It's like a tank, and the prisoners get lowered into. They swim down into their prison, and then like they seal off the top, and then they drain the water out. So this has to be some real place because all that water's got to go somewhere after they drain
Yeah,
it too.
them getting in and out of that tube is 75% of the episode.
Yeah, but I mean, it looks great. Like
Does.
it looks like something from a movie. Like it looks phenomenal.
The set steals the show, basically.
Yeah, and like when they walk around the rest of the prison, I now that I think about it, there's a lot of the prison that they do show, and all the sets look really good. There's lots of like windows with like and out right outside is the water
Yeah,
and
fish,
and shit
yeah.
swimming around, and it all looks good. It looks like it's practical. Like there's somewhere that is underwater.
Yeah, the
Because
warden.
it's not green screen. I was like, how did they do
Right,
this?
the warden's office looks. I mean, it's got to be like maybe an aquarium, the Orlando Aquarium, something like that.
You know what? It's probably something at MGM.
Or-
It's probably like a ride or
Or
something at MGM.
SeaWorld was like my next guess, something like that.
Maybe. Oh, maybe they just went to the Sequest set.
Maybe it was shot in Florida. I wouldn't rule it out.
Because wasn't Sequest filmed in Florida?
I think it was. I
No.
can't remember.
I don't know. Anyways, Smoke Monster in the chat said, everyone does say that Thunder is very filmic. I don't think anyone's saying
No,
that.
definitely not.
You've been talking to Hulk Hogan? You've been talking to Terry
yeah,
Bollea?
you guys been doing drugs together.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry guys, we need to get this going. So there are new prisoners coming in. There's a kid running around that's not supposed to be there, and the warden's like, "What the fuck are you doing here? I told you not to come into this restricted area." And he's like, "Oh, I just want to see the prisoners." Like, how dystopian! Like this kid's entertainment is watching his dad bring in new men to imprison.
It was the '90s. It was accepted.
Yeah, it's just like a funny premise. Like the more you think about it, like the more ridiculous it is.
Yeah.
Anyways, a woman that we'll learn is his wife, and the kid is also the warden's son. So they're a family, the 3 of them. I have her name written down somewhere. But it's towards the end. Anyways, so she's also a doctor and a marine biologist and plus actor.
What? Wow, what a Mary Sue we have here.
Yeah. So she mentions that some of the new prisoners tried to kill each other on the way there. The prisoners are lowered into that giant tube with water. I actually wrote here, holy crap, how expensive was this episode? They drained the water from the tank, and we see that one of the 2 prisoners is Spencer, a.k.a. Hulk Hogan, a.k.a. Randall, a.k.a. the Hurricane.
AKA Todd Rivers. Yeah.
Yeah, he has so many nicknames on this
Yeah,
show.
right.
All right, so the other prisoner that's there with Hogan keeps like shoulder blocking him, like kind of gently,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
aggressively. It's weird. Both the prisoners, both Hogan and this other guy, they're wearing like these neck collars and like, these
So
chains.
just to jump in there real quick, that guy who's shoulder blocking him, is that a wrestler or just a stunt guy?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's
For a
just like a,
second, I was like, is that Brutus the Barber
I thought it
Beefcake
was Brutus
already?
at first too.
And then we see him
I thought it was
later.
Brutus at first
Yeah.
too. But yeah, no, this guy's actually like this guy looks big, but then when you see Brutus, you're like, oh, yeah,
Yeah, he's not
as
as
big
roided up as old Brutus.
Yeah. So, anyways, the other prisoner like ends up kicking Hogan. They get into a scuffle, and the warden, Hogan, of course, is winning the fight. Hogan's about to crush this guy's neck with his foot, and then the warden turns on the neck collar around Hogan's neck, which makes him pass out. Hogan is taken to a holding cell. Well, what did you think at this point?
I was like, wow, not even Hulk can stop the power of the collar. And even though you say this is not inspired by Sequest, I thought this episode was a little bit Sequest and a little bit The Running Man, the movie The Running Man, because, you know, they have those collars in that
Sure.
make your head explode. Of course, that's like a sci-fi trope that's
a
it's
trope
been used
too,
in a lot
yeah.
of movies. But I mean, I was on board. It was, I mean, the set was awesome. I was already thoroughly entertained by their like sort of wrestling fight that they had. And
Yeah, the Hogan reveal was pretty good too, because you really don't know it's him coming down the tank. You see the body and stuff, but until he exits the tank, and he's like the second to exit. So I thought it was a pretty cool reveal.
it was good. It's nice and over the top and campy, just how I like it.
Yeah. All right. So Hogan, oops. Now we cut to the beach where one of many shots of women in bikinis.
Don't worry,
in this
Yahel.
episode.
There was a few men in there too.
Yeah, there are. At which they were always good to throw in a few men. Not too
just
many.
in case there's one or two women watching the show, just in case.
Well, I think, that part of the reason why they don't show a lot of men in these like shots on Thunder in Paradise isn't because they want to just show the women. I think it's because Hogan and Chris Lemon are supposed to be the eye candy. The male eye candy. No, I really think that's what it's supposed to be. They're I mean, I don't know who's finding Hogan hot,
Right.
but this is when he was like really lean and cut up. But
he's in good shape. It's true.
yeah. And Chris Lemon, he's a good looking guy in great shape too. So
Sure.
anyways, so we're at the beach. There's a bunch of women in bikinis playing volleyball. Jim the Anvil Neidhart is also playing. It's men against
Did
women.
I ever tell you about the time I saw Jim the Anvil Neidhart at a Fishbone, sitting at the bar at Fishbone by himself?
No, but
It happened.
it was in Tampa, right?
Oh yeah, New Tampa. Yeah.
I saw him at a bar at a restaurant too in Tampa.
That's that.
I'm not even joking. I
believe
saw him in New Tampa at Stonewood Grill at the bar by himself.
Oh, maybe it was Stonewood. Yeah, I thought it was Fish.
Oh shit, is that
Yeah.
it? I wonder if okay, yeah, because I think Natalia, I know she used to live like in New Tampa. So that's his daughter for those that don't know.
Right.
Anyway, a Sasquatch in time is here. He says, hello, fellow Obscurians. Bikinis, I'm just in time.
Sasquatch, at the beginning of the episode, I thanked you for your for backing Escape Tour number 3. Since you're here, I'll just go ahead and thank you again.
Yeah, I think Sasquatch, I know he joined a bit of my stream last night. I don't know if he was there for the Thunder in Paradise PC version. But yeah, so he's getting even more Thunder in Paradise. Actually, yeah, I think he was there during Thunder in Paradise.
Oh, nice.
Anyways, so yeah, so we're at the beach where like WCW's locker room is playing volleyball against women.
Hogan's
You got
job
Brutus the
squad,
Barber
yeah.
Beefcake. Jimmy Hart is there. The men are distracted by the women's bodies while they're playing volleyball, even though, and I guess like Brew is coaching. I guess it's like a practice game or something
Right.
for the big face-off. It's not really clear, but two of the wrestlers make the volleyball explode at one point when they both like hit it at the same time. It explodes into dust.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, Hogan's kid is there, and Hogan's kid is asking Brew. Brew is Chris Lemon, aka Hulk Spencer's best friend here. He asks when her dad is coming back. Bruce says that he doesn't know, but that he's sure he's fine. But as he says this, he shoots Kelly a worried look. They shoot each other worried.
That was very subtle.
Just-
there was subtext there.
Yeah, great acting. Yeah. There's so much subtle acting on this show.
Yeah.
So now we're back at the prison, and we see that I'm just gonna call him Hulk.
Wait,
Hogan.
before we get
see
back
that
to the prison, I want to say that these resort scenes are like the worst part of this episode, I think. They're so cheesy. I mean, I get why they're there, but what do you think?
They're very hit or miss. I mean, I agree that they are the worst part of the episode, but there are like a couple that I did enjoy. Because I will say Chris Lemon, like, you can tell that he knows this material is not good. He knows it's crap. And he will ham it up with his facials at times and stuff. So over the top, that to try to make it work, that it ends up working for me sometimes.
Sure. I mean, that's the whole show, basically.
But this scene did kind of suck.
Yeah.
So anyways, we're back at the prison and we see that Hulk Hogan's talking to the warden in the warden's office. We find out that Hulk Hogan is there undercover to make sure that the prison can really hold Hammerhead, who's going to be played by Sting.
Because if you want to find rat holes, you got to run with the rats, brother. He doesn't actually say
that's
rat,
what one of the things he tells to the warden.
Yeah.
So the warden's like, "Oh, this is personal for you, isn't it?" And Hogan's like, "Yeah, me and Hammerhead, we were SEALs together.
You and he were
that
buddies, weren't you?"
Buddies, weren't you? But Hammerhead decided that he wanted to sell guns on the black market instead. This is probably Hogan's worst acting in the episode, maybe second worst.
That's true.
One thing I love about Hulk Hogan's acting is like sometimes he's not bad, sometimes he's even good,
Right.
but you just never know from scene to scene what Hogan you're gonna get. It's so interesting,
Right.
to me.
It's like whatever drugs he's on, that's what dictates his acting ability from scene to scene.
Sasquatch in the chat, Sasquatch in time said, "Yep, I was there for Thunder in Paradise. I was talking about my live stream last night, and now I have a thirst for more that's unquenchable." Thanks a lot.
Well, that's the unfortunate thing I will say about Thunder and like, I don't know why you can't just go on to Tubi and like watch the whole season. There's only just a few like scattered episodes on YouTube, and luckily this is one of them. So if you want to watch the whole episode,
Oh no, I think I found a channel that had them all.
Did you?
I was pretty sure. I think so.
All right.
I think I may be wrong. Maybe it was just a channel that had like a lot of them, and I thought they had them all. I don't know, but it does kind of suck that it's not available to stream anywhere. I think you can buy episodes on Amazon.
I see.
Prime. So I do, if you got $2,
Like, just what I'm asking
burning a hole in
is,
your pocket.
when is Diabolic DVD gonna release an HD rescan of the Thunder in Paradise TV show?
I
Come
know.
on, it's we've all been waiting
we need
for
the
it.
film to be remastered.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So Hogan, explains why it's personal. By the way, Hulk Hogan's whole thing is like, I'm gonna be here undercover. So they also explain that like Hulk Hogan like getting like into a fight and getting tasered or whatever, or the neck collar thing put on him. It was to make the other prisoners think that he's a real con or whatever. And he says like a weird name. He says like a weird word like, "Oh yeah, now the other cons think I'm a real fire pit." This is something that makes one of many like phrases that they act like it's a everyday colloquial thing to say, and it's not.
It's just a Hoganism is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, Hogan's whole thing is like, hey, I want to make sure this place is safe enough to hold
Hammerhead. Yeah.
Where's Hammerhead at now?
Yeah. I guess we can assume that they're like transferring him. Like they know he's already on the way, so Hulk has to get there.
But he's got to be being held somewhere because the implication is that Hogan is at this place for at least a few days.
Right. Yeah. So I guess he's
just being held somewhere unsafe.
Right.
Anyways, I just thought it was
It's
weird.
funny.
But
It is.
So the warden starts to give Hulk Hogan a tour of the prison, including showing him cells that are with force fields.
Oh,
Fucking force
I love that. I
fields.
put laser doors. Yeah. And he's like, I wouldn't touch.
It's turned into a science fiction show. I love
Yeah,
it.
it's he's like, I wouldn't touch that if I were you. And he uses his
Clipboard or
clipboard
something.
to show that if you touch it, you basically get fried, more or less. But
Yeah.
it was awesome.
This is like something that would fit into like the last season of Family Matters, where it's all science fiction.
Oh yeah. Do you think it would fit in a Baywatch Nights somehow? No, it's not paranormal enough.
Yes.
Oh no, you think so?
Yeah, because sometimes they did some sci-fi stuff like the Alien
of course,
Visitor.
which we covered. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, don't sell David Hasselhoff's creative skills short.
Right.
Fred.
There's no level of camp he can't reach and make work.
That's right. Oh my God, can you imagine if him and Hulk Hogan did something together?
That would be awesome.
Oh. Anyways, so the warden introduces Hulk Hogan to the doctor / his wife in the beginning.
Allison.
Somehow the kid like knows Hulk Hogan's nickname of Hurricane and also how he got it, but then we find out it's because he read the files, and the warden is like, yeah, my son's always getting into things he's not supposed to be getting into.
My favorite part is when the son was like, you deserve to be paid a hero's wage.
Smoke Monster is asking, wait, Family Matters went sci-fi? Oh yeah, the last season, Urkel is like makes a clone of himself. There's the whole Stefan Urkel thing. There's a teleporting. He goes to the moon, if I remember correctly.
Changes himself into Bruce Lee.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of like weird shit the last season. I want to get Steve to just cover the whole last season.
We'll get there someday.
Anyways, so sorry. So the hurricane. So, anyways, this kid says that the dad says the kid's always getting to stuff he's not supposed to. The woman mentions that she's been working on human and dolphin communication. So that's your Chekhov's gun. You will definitely see that come up later. And I wrote here, I can't wait to see Hulk Hogan team up with a dolphin. I was kind of kidding, but someone does end up teaming up with a dolphin.
Right, of course. The kid.
Anyways, we cut to a blonde woman dressed like a Catholic schoolgirl, but also they tried to make her look like a nerd at the same time.
Oh yeah, there's no way you can
not
not tell like that this woman is attractive, but for some reason the glasses seem to at first deflect Bru's advances, as we're about to see.
Yeah, so we get lots of shots of her just like in slow motion wandering around looking at the hotel, amazed by everything. Then she's outside. We see shots
straight up. It is not only is it a commercial for the hotel, but it's also a music video at the same time. I felt like we were watching
there's an awful song,
California Dreams, all over again.
Bro, the song sounds like something that would be in The Room.
Yeah, it does.
Then she makes her way out to the beach. Here's where we get lots of shots of both men and women in their bathing suits, and she's just weirdly smiling at everything and everyone. And I will say, I thought this was so weird. However, it does make sense when Kelly explains that this girl was spent most of her life in a covenant and a covenant.
She went to Covenant school or nun school.
Yeah. But anyways, there's an awful song playing all throughout. Now we see women looking at swimsuits while wearing bikinis, like they're shopping. And then our nerd girl picks out a bikini of her own.
Oh, yes, she does.
Now we see Bru and Brutus, the Barber Beefcake, are at the bar talking about.
And Brutus is in the shortest shorts he could possibly be wearing.
Yes, he's almost got his ass hanging out of him.
Ass if we're lucky.
So Bru and Brutus are talking about how Kelly, the bartender, is going to have a friend coming to stay with her. And look, they're basically talking in code about how they're going to try to bang her friend.
Yes. It's all
Kelly tells
very
them,
predatory, very boys will be boys.
Yeah. So Kelly overhears him and walks up, and she knows that these are sexual predators, and she says, hey, hands off. I don't want you guys taking advantage of this sweet, innocent girl. And then this is where we find out that, because I was like, where is this stuff with this like Catholic schoolgirl going? And this is where I was like, oh my God, the nerd girl is Kelly's friend or whatever. Well, not really her friend, but the person coming to stay with her. Kelly says that she spent, the girl, her name is Allison, spent most of her life at a convent school. Bru thinks it's dumb to like have somebody that's like so, uptight and pious, like run a bar. She's coming here to help with the bar. and that's when Kelly says, well, she wants to like live a little before she decides whether or not she's going to become a nun.
Right.
And then Bruce says, with the creepiest look on his face, then why deprive her of the most fun she could ever have? AKA sleeping with him.
Yes, he's God's gift to women, is what he's saying.
Yeah. And then Kelly has a pretty good quip. One night with you, and she's sure to become a nun.
Because he
I
can't
thought that was
get
actually
it
pretty
up.
good. I actually liked this scene. Like Kelly and Brew, they have a good banter, a good chemistry back and forth, and like Chris Lemon really sells this. And I think I said the last thing about Chris's performance when the last Thunder in Paradise we watched, that he really makes a lot of this stuff work.
Sure. Yeah, he does. I mean, I enjoyed it too, just because you never get this level of sleazoid in movies and TVs anymore.
Right.
I mean, at least,
But it's okay because he's a lovable sleazy guy.
He's a lovable sleazy guy. Just like
it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
That later he's going to be taking advantage of her and dry humping her, basically.
So
we'll get to that.
Not since Bad Santa, dry humped that girl in the pinball machine has such sleaze been put to TV.
Oh my God, yeah, it was pretty bad. Anyways, so then we see that nerd girl Allison is walking towards the bar, and this is kind of what you were talking about. Brew sees her and tells Kelly, "Ugh, don't worry, she's not my type. Don't worry, I won't assault this one."
Yeah. Put your drugs away, fellas, and the drinks that you were gonna put them in. There's nothing to worry about. She's got glasses. Just look away.
Yeah, basically. So anyways, Allison and Kelly start talking out like on the beach. Kelly meets up with Allison, and Alice, they have a stupid conversation, but Allison says that she didn't bring any luggage, but she bought something to wear. And Allison starts very slowly unbuttoning her shirt, taking off her skirt, and reveals that she's got the tiny bikini on underneath. And suddenly Brew is watching this from across from the bar. Brew becomes visibly aroused. You can see it in his face, the arousal.
Yes.
So then Allison like runs in slow motion to the beach to take a swim, and as Brew just continues to just like emote, just make a bunch of funny faces.
Right. As you do.
Back at the sci-fi prison. Again, I wrote here, I can't believe how good this set looks.
I couldn't write that enough. I just put the jail set is fantastic. I've got it written right here.
It's phenomenal. Like the tank that they have the dolphin in, the lighting in there, like everything looks really good in this show. Anyways, Hulk and the Warden are talking, and Hogan wants the Warden to take Hammerhead more seriously and keep a close eye on him. So, like, even though Hogan's not really convinced that this place can hold him, I guess he's gonna leave anyways and let them take over Hammerhead.
This is when the Warden explains why his family is there. It's because he trusts the prison so much. It's so safe that it's okay for him to have his family there, which is still
makes no sense.
Definitely not.
Yeah. So anyways, Hogan suggests to the Warden to take his wife and kids out of here now that Hammerhead is here.
Right.
Hammerhead, played by Sting, is lowered into the water transfer tank, and as the tank water gets drained, and you start to see Sting's like Hammerhead's eyes. He's still wearing the goggles or whatever, but you see he's making like big bulgy eyes. See the mask. It looks so fucking
Sting's performance in this, as we're about to see. I mean, this is what I wanted from Shutter Speed, to be honest. Now I know,
me too.
he really, he was really, taking Shutter Speed seriously, because I guess, that was
and he does a great job. He's got a really good performance in Shutter Speed.
But this, if you're fans of camp as we are, this is the Sting performance you're looking for.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Sting made the right choice, like, because Hogan's acting real campy in his scenes with Sting, and so he's just keeping the same energy and level. So yeah, I definitely think Sting made the right choice. And if anything, after watching Shutter Speed, where again he plays it very seriously and he's really good in Shutter Speed, and then watching him in this, like the range that this man has.
You missed his calling,
Right?
almost.
Like, why didn't he do more
I
acting?
know. Yeah.
He deprived
He
us.
did. How dare you,
Anyways,
Sting?
yeah. So Sting, Hogan and Sting have a hilarious exchange. I wanted to write it all down, but I didn't. But Hogan says, Sting says something to Hulk Hogan about like, oh, you came down here to get your stripes or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And then Hogan says, oh, I was just arranging your burial at sea, the final plunge.
Yeah.
Then Sting replies that I'm immortal and I'll be resurrected into your nightmares. But his delivery is insane. They're both hamming it up. Hogan tells Sting, Hammerhead, that he's always been a bottom feeder and now he's going to be one forever or something. And, Sting says something about climbing over him, blah, 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 blah.
That one's a little bit.
anyways.
Well, they repeat that one later. I've got it written down. I want to deliver it again.
Yeah. Now Hogan gets into the tank, and because that's how you exit. The same way you come in, you go up the tank, and I guess a boat or something picks you up at the ocean floor. Back at the beach, Hogan just got there. His daughter is yelling at him for not telling him where he was. Hogan promises that he'll always tell her where he's going from now on. Who cares?
Yes, thank you.
But it was really short.
Yes.
So we go back to the prison already. And by the way, the guards' outfits are just terrible. Like, it's the cheapest part of the show.
Sure.
The guards are all like skinny fat guys out of shape.
Oh, yeah.
It's real weird. But anyways, we get a hilarious shot of Sting in his like cell, and he's just again got his eyes all bulged out, staring into nothing with like his head tilted.
I'm like,
back.
is he supposed to be
funny.
like? Is that how Sting meditates? Like with his, I don't know. Yeah, like eyes bulging out and muscles.
Hammerhead is crazy, brother.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they never even really explain how he does what's about to come out. It's like, so in the G.I. Joe comics, the Snake Eyes, his ninja clan, they have a way to like stop their heart in order to fake death. Like, is that what Sting's doing here?
Well, I don't think he faked it. I think his heart did stop. Well, we'll get to it. So next we see that the prisoners are like doing their exercise. There was an announcement of
They're
it.
just running around in a circle. It's hilarious.
They're running in a circle, like a real small like circle with like, I don't know, like a 30-foot radius or something. It's pretty small. But then and there's like 4 guards there, and like Sting is running with them, but he runs the opposite direction as everybody else, and he starts like punching guys and knocking them over, and the guards do nothing.
Oh yeah,
they just watch him with their guns.
Yeah, one thing that I will say about this episode is, I feel like the background actors, the extras, whatever you want to call them, were given like 0 direction. So most of the time they're just standing around not reacting to what's going on. I don't know, blame the guys behind the camera for that. Maybe no.
And apparently the only one that can turn on like the pain net collar is the warden. Right. He's the only one with the clicker for it. The remote control for it.
Which makes no sense.
Anyways, then alarms start going off because of Sting's fighting, I guess, or Hammerhead's fighting. The warden then activates Sting's pain collar. It takes a while, but Sting finally passes out. But he just keeps going. He's like, and the warden's wife is like, "Hey, you're gonna kill him," and he's like, "No, this could be a trick." She finally makes him stop. She goes over to Hammerhead and says that she can't feel a pulse. So they go to defibrillate him, and they defibrillate Sting, and that's when he wakes up. So I think his heart had stopped. But it's just that woke him up.
I gotcha.
And how did it wake him up, Steve?
Well, first off, there was a very excited extra, or at least he got excited when he had to rip Sting's shirt off. He really put everything into it. It was like Christmas Day. He was happy to like rip that shirt off. And then Sting, he basically just like that, right? Like, hold on, let me do it again.
Yeah, like they.
He's basically playing.
Yeah, they do the defibrillator. They run it, and like he immediately wakes up, eyes bulging out of his skull like before. Grabs the defibrillator off his chest and puts it on the guard's temples. And like kills him, I guess, that way. Then he takes the warden's wife hostage and says, "Hey, if you do anything, I'll kill her," or whatever.
Right.
So he's taking her hostage.
Yep.
Now we see there's so much that happens in this episode. Now we see Edward, the owner of the hotel, who's telling some rich lady, I think her name was like Lady Dumont, that her stay is going to be pleasant and blah blah blah, and
This is the
relaxing.
worst.
Yeah, I don't know why there's a C plot, but there is.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, like 30 volleyballs come from like the volleyball game being played by the wrestlers, and they all hit her and Edward. So then Edward goes up to Hogan and complains, and Edward has like your stereotypical like I'm a fancy British person kind of accent.
Yeah, it's like your typical like almost boner comedy like college thing. Like he's basically
Yeah.
the dean, and Hogan and his job squad are like the frat boys basically.
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
like,
Hogan is Ryan Reynolds.
yeah, he's like, we just want to have fun, brother. People come here to have fun, not to relax.
Yeah, Edward goes up to Hogan to complain, and Hogan says, "Eddie, baby, hang loose, brother." Like he has this really weird delivery.
It's
like,
so like
what
old,
was that?
old, like hippie talk. Like it's like the worst. Oh my, it's cringe. Dare I say, cringe.
Yeah. Smoke Monster said that all the actors looked like what I imagine charter fishing boat captains look like. Yeah, yeah,
I'd say
I
you're
can see
right.
that.
Yeah.
Anyways, Edward tells Hogan that if he can't control himself and his people, that he's going to take measures against them. And then Brutus and Jimmy Hart and Danville Neidhart go, measures, feet, inches, millimeters. Like they each like say like a different unit of measurement. And then they all laugh. Hogan tells Edward that people come to the beach to have fun, brother, not to relax. Then Hogan says, we're local colors and people love local colors. What? What?
Well, like
I've never heard that saying.
Oh, I have. Well, he says
Oh, you
he
have?
says local color, like they're the locals, like that.
No, I get what he mean. I get what he's conveying.
Uh-huh.
I've just never heard that phrase. We're local colors. But that is a real thing.
Yeah, sure, yeah, like like if you go.
Wait, the way you said sure.
No, I'm serious. It is local color. Like if you were to go to visit New Orleans, you would want to sample like the local color, the people who live there, the food thing. Local culture is probably another way of saying it, but no, it's a phrase. Trust me.
You've people have said this to you like in real
I've heard
life.
I've read it in books before. Sure.
Wait, was it? Who'd you hear from? Was it Neidhart when he was alone at the bar? Because he doesn't count.
He was talking about other colors that he doesn't care about.
Oh. Hogan too.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, moving right along. Hogan's beeper goes off, and he has to leave.
Do a drug deal.
Yeah.
Boys are ready.
Now Brew is showing Allison, that was the nerd girl from earlier, how to. Is that parasailing that he's trying to show her how to whatever?
Yeah.
I think is what it's called.
No, windsurfing, because parasailing is
windsurfing. Thank you. Yeah. You're right. Windsurf. And she's like, "Oh, can you show me?" And he gets up behind her, skin on skin, crotch on her ass, and he's just like, yeah, like doing like humping motions, like he's like thrusting into her. He's dry humping her,
but it's okay because he's one of the heroes of the show. It's okay.
He's just a charming guy.
Charming sleazoid. Yeah.
Kelly sees it, and Allison's all into it, of course, but mostly because she doesn't like get what he's doing.
Right.
So Kelly's right about Brew, and thankfully Kelly sees this and goes to interrupt, and Hogan sees it as well. He's like, goes over there, and Hogan's like, Kelly interrupts and says like, "Hey, you can't do this." And Brew's like, "Fuck you, I can do what I want. The lesson's not over yet." And then Hogan is like, "Hey, Hammerhead's taken over the prison and taken the warden and his family prisoner." And finally, Brew is like, "I'll finish this later, whether you want me to or not."
But let's be honest. Like Hogan didn't stop it because he saw something untoward going on.
Oh, right. No, that's not why Hogan
stopped it because he needed him to go face Hammerhead. If it had been any other day of the week, he'd be like, "Go ahead, brother, do what you need to do."
Show her the local colors.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, so Brew and there's some weird back and forth. Wait a minute. Hogan tells Brew that about Hammerhead, blah blah, and that they have to stop him. There's some weird back and forth with Hogan, Brew, Kelly, and his kid, because Hogan does tell the kid exactly where he's going, and they have like some banter or whatever.
Right. No one cares.
Fine. Yeah. It's just about how like they're gonna like play volleyball later.
Right.
That Hogan better come back for it, and how the girls are gonna beat the pants off the boys, and they'll just
that's
insult
an
each other.
actual
And,
dialogue from the script.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Kelly calls them pants. She says that's like the last line in that scene. She's like, "Yeah, when you come back, we're gonna beat you, pants."
What? Are you sure?
Yeah, she says yes, yes.
Okay.
I rewound it.
What?
But because Hogan, I can't remember if it's Hogan or Brew, but calls them skirts or something like that at some
all right,
point.
all right.
It was like in response. So it makes sense. It's just dumb.
Sure.
Anyway, so they leave and they get in Thunder and they leave to go to the prison. We get some bad CG of Thunder changing into transition mode, which I guess means it'll like go
faster.
underwater, be able to.
Yeah.
I think it's because like the top closes, so I guess it's for it to go underwater.
You know, during this scene, it got me thinking about there was an episode of The Simpsons where they were watching a spoof of Knight Rider called Night Boat. And I'm like, holy shit!
I've seen
this
that.
is it. This is Night Boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just sort of all came together for me. That's all.
That's funny. Yeah. I forgot all about that. Anyways, now Sting. We're back at the prison. Sting asks the warden where Ricky is. Ricky is their son. I don't know, and Sting is like choking him and lifting him up, and I don't know why Sting cares so much about this. Other
what
than
is that kid gonna do? Yeah.
Well, I guess because he's a hostage, so he's valuable to him in that sense.
Maybe the kid could get to some. Well, I mean, and he does. Like he could get to some form of communication. Like say, I don't know, maybe like a dolphin that can speak English.
So, anyways, the warden and his wife tell Sting that the kid left on the last shuttle, and Sting says something like he better have, or I can't remember what he says, but anyways, we now cut to another scene in the prison where we see that Ricky was hiding like under like a grate or something, like a steel grate. Ricky sneaks out and comes over to the tank where the dolphins is at, and it's so weird because all that he tells a dolphin is, "You should pay attention. Go."
Yeah. Right.
He doesn't like give him like any like. You think that they would have like a command or something like find help or look boat. I don't know, just something other than you should pay attention. Go.
Right.
And then the dolphin
This
leaves.
is when things are sort of, I wouldn't say falling apart, but maybe they're just sort of, I don't know, underdeveloped. Because he just sort of pats the water and like points or whatever, and somehow the dolphin knows to go find Hogan and the Thunderboat, the Night Boat, basically.
Yeah,
And that's what he does.
And wasn't the dolphin wearing like a headset or some sort or something? And
no.
Did I imagine that?
You're thinking of
I might imagine that. Yeah, maybe.
Or Echo the Dolphin, maybe.
Now we're back at Thunder, and like Thunder is telling the Thunder ship's computer voice tells Brew and Hogan that there's like an object coming towards them, like at 40 miles an hour or something. I can't remember, but coming at them really fast, and they're like, "Oh!" And it's like saying that it's like something like an attack, basically.
Right.
Kind of a
So
thing.
they're getting ready to blow
up.
this dolphin away.
Yeah, but then they pull up the camera and they see that it's just a dolphin. The dolphin goes right up to Thunder's camera, and Brew is like, "Hey, I think this dolphin's trying to tell us something." And Hogan just goes, "Yes."
Yes. See, the thing that I think is funny here is I was like, I'm surprised, because the Thunder is basically like the, I don't know, MacGuffin or whatever that can like basically do anything. The Deus Ex Machina. I'm surprised the Thunder can't translate dolphin noises into English.
Right. I'm actually surprised that Thunder didn't get used more in this episode. But they're barely in it. But anyways,
it would be hilarious. I want to say this before I forget. If Thunder did submerge and shoot lasers at the base, or
that would be
torpedoes
great.
or something.
So now we cut to. Sorry, a second here. Now we cut to the underwater outside of Thunder. They're swimming with the dolphin, Hogan and Brew.
Yeah.
Brew grabs onto the back of the dolphin, and the dolphin basically takes Brew to like a back entrance into the prison, while Hogan comes in through the main prisoner
the
exchange
tube.
entrance. And the reason for that is because Hammerhead basically wants Hogan he wants Hogan because he wants to kill Hogan. And torture him. Next scene that we see here is the dolphin brings Brew to the kid. Excuse me. There's kind of a cool shot as Hogan is being lowered into the tank, or the tank's being drained of like Sting's reflection, Hammerhead's
Yeah,
reflection
that was
in the
awesome.
tank. Watching it looked really
Yeah,
cool.
they really got the most out of this prison set with all the camera angles and everything.
Yeah, for sure. So Hammerhead says the line about being immortal again.
Yes. Should I read the whole
Did you want
thing?
to say
Oh,
it?
please.
Yes, please
I'm
do.
immortal. I'll be resurrected into your nightmares, into your world. I'll reach up and pull you down while I pull up and over you. No fear.
And then Hogan says, "Hey man, what can I say? Hey man, you pulled it off. What can I say?" Then Sting says, "Your prayers for
Oh,
starters."
that was so good. This is the campy dialogue that I want right here. So good, bad. I love it.
Magic, just magic. Hogan tells Sting to release the hostages, but of course Sting isn't going to do that. Hammerhead won't do that. Now we cut to Brew and the kid who are like going under a grate, so they're going to be sneaking around. There's a lot of back and forth in these next few scenes. Now we see that Sting has put a collar on Hogan, one of the pain collars. Now we're back to Brew and the kid who are walking around the prison. Then we cut back to Hogan, who is now fighting like a ton of prisoners at once while Sting is watching. You know, Hammerhead's just having a good old time. Hogan, of course, easily defeats all of these prisoners. Right. That's when Sting turns on the pain collar, which Hogan struggles with, but he is eventually able to break it off with his bare hands.
Now let me ask you this. So in the beginning, Hogan couldn't do it. Do you think he allowed the taser to like put him under so they could, whisk him away? Or not the taser, but the collar to put him under so he can go and, chat with the warden. But then, all the while, he always had the ability to get out of that collar.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Exactly.
I'll buy it.
Of course. But Hogan is, I guess, passed out or something. Anyways, we cut to back to Brew and the kids sneaking around the prison. They find the warden and his wife. Brew sneaks up and the prisoner that's guarding them and beats them up. Now Sting and Hogan are fighting. Sting puts Hogan, gets the better of Hogan, puts him in the tube and starts filling it with water because he's going to drown him. But Hammerhead is still in the tube. Now he is wearing an oxygen mask, so Hogan doesn't have oxygen, and Hammerhead does. We see that, I guess, I don't understand this part because, so was Hammerhead going to swim back out to sea? Because he's just swimming up, but there's only one way to exit the tube into the prison. So
right, I thought, one was trying to drown the other. So yeah, what was?
The only thing I can think of is that Hammerhead wants to escape.
Right.
So he's trying to drown
Hogan. At the same
he knows
time.
Thunder. Oh, that's right. He wanted Thunder.
Yes.
That's right. Earlier they said that Hammerhead wanted Thunder to escape. So that's why. Okay, makes sense. I'm sorry to doubt you, Thunder in Paradise. But anyways, as Hammerhead is swimming up, Hulk Hogan wakes up, brother, because the power of Hulkamania
right. It was running wild.
Is unstoppable. Right. So Hogan grabs him and they start fighting in the water tank. Sorry, I lost my place yet again. So
basically, they swim around in the tank together. There's very little actual fighting. It's kind of like a wide or medium shot, from the outside of the tube. And I was expecting at least a few fists to be thrown, but no, they're basically
it's just kind of they're just tussling a little bit.
They're treading water together more or less. And
then Brew. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Then Brew shows up. Now he's in the section of the prison where the tube is, where Sting and Hogan are fighting. And Brew beats up the other prisoners, and then the real guards end up coming in with the warden. Brew is trying to get the tube drained or whatever, but the warden tells Brew that the tube cannot be drained while the hatch leading to the ocean is open, which makes sense because you're just gonna let in the water from the ocean. It'll never stop. So I liked that touch that they explained why there was a real legit reason why Brew couldn't just save Hogan right away.
Absolutely.
All right, so now Hammerhead and Hogan are fighting on the ocean floor. They've reached the exit. Hogan wins the fight, and Hammerhead at some point somehow loses his oxygen mask. And Hammerhead is like floating / swimming away now. And Hogan starts to like go back down the tube. They seal the hatch at the top, and then they start to drain the thing. So Hogan is able to, be saved, obviously. And then Hogan, the warden, and Brew and his kid, they're all talking, and they're like, "Where's Hammerhead?" And Hogan's like, "He's floating away."
Yeah. Yeah.
But then the doctor's like, "Well, we're 300 feet from the surface, and he doesn't have oxygen. There's no way he'd be able to survive. Would he?"
Yeah.
And then everybody gives each other a worried look.
Yeah. It's the classic, did he escape or did he die villain ending or whatever, which is perfectly fine for a show like Thunder in Paradise.
Yeah. Smoke Monster was asking the chat, you think the underwater stuff is harkening back to early Hollywood?
What, like 30,000 Leagues Under the Sea or 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea?
I don't know,
something
maybe.
like that. I mean, as I maintain that this was heavily inspired by Sequest, but that's just my theory.
I don't think so. So now we still have a little bit more show left to go.
Unfortunately.
So back to the beach. The men versus women volleyball game is finally on. Hogan shows up and says the Coast Guard hasn't been able to find Hammerhead,
Right, of course.
dead or alive. So he tells that to Brew, and Brew's like, "Well, nothing we can do. Why don't you join this game? We need you, brother."
Right.
He says he calls Hogan something like their ace in the hole, but it's supposed to be like ace in the hole, but it's something worse, like something weird. Anyways, Hogan joins the game and cuts a promo on his own daughter about how he's gonna beat her. Anyways, Allison is also playing. She ends up spiking the ball right into Brew's nose, and he makes like a bunch of like kind of funny faces about it. Everyone laughs at him. Then the volleyball hits Edward, the hotel owner, in his face. And he comes up mad to Hogan. He says he's had enough, and he's going to have them banned from the beach. Then old lady Dumont from earlier shows up, and she says to Edward that people come to the beach to have fun, not relax, and that these people are fun, and that they're local color.
Yeah. See, all right. I mean, this was, again, like typical boner comedy college kind of thing here where, oh, what a surprise. The stuffy person that the dean was like trying to impress, they're just here to have a good time too. Now, what would have been really funny is if like there was a scene where either Hogan or Brew were like paying her off or something, but that wouldn't make any sense because she's rich or whatever. But yeah, I mean,
no, she's just a rich people. They're just like us,
right,
Steve. They just want to have fun,
like us, absolutely,
just like us. Anyways, and then Lady Dumont joins the game. Actually, Hogan says to Edward, "See, just like I told you, brother." Then Lady Dumont joins the women to play, and then Edward says, "Well, if she can do it, so can I." And then like he throws the volleyball up in the air, and now they're both gonna play. And then we cut to Thunder in Paradise splash screen, and the music starts to play, and you hear Allison screaming for help in the background as the show goes to credits.
Did Jimmy Snuka show up?
No, Brew is attacking
Right,
her.
no, I get it. But no, I was going to ask, so Brew getting the volleyball in the face from Allison, is that her revenge for almost getting sexually assaulted?
I think it's just supposed to like humble.
Take him down a peg.
Yeah,
You're
just
not
take him down a peg.
You're not the sexually virile stud you think you are because you got a volleyball to the face, Brew. Man. All right. Well, did you want to go over some of this trivia? I mean, I think we already covered a lot of it, but there's just about Thunder in Paradise in general. Let's see. We already talked about Chris Lemon saying that it ruined his career. Let's see. Hulk Hogan would often spend his Friday nights at Hooters restaurant after the week's episode had concluded filming. Thunder in Paradise was one of the first acting gigs of Heidi Mark, who started out as a Hooters girl prior to her acting career. Do you know which character?
Hi, that's Allison.
Oh, well, there you go. She was
She's in 7 episodes.
all right. Well, there you go. And I don't know. They talked about the boat here that Hogan wanted to purchase it, but it was already sold to something else. So he just had them build one just like it. Man, it must be nice to have Hogan money. But hey, as you said, the rich are just like us. That's what I learned from this episode.
Yeah, they're just like us.
I don't know. There's probably like too much here to even go. All right, here's a good one. Prior to its cancellation, Hulk Hogan thought about rebooting the show under a new title, Thunder Force, with himself, Sting,
as the boat,
Mr. T, with himself, Sting, Mr. T, and Cynthia Rothrock. Man, I would watch that.
This sounds awesome.
I know.
That sounds awesome.
That would be so cool. And for some reason, someone downvoted this comment on IMDb, maybe because they think it's bullshit. But I think even if it is, that sounds amazing.
I mean, what it probably is, it's probably just something that it probably is both true and bullshit. Because what probably happened is that it's something Hulk Hogan said in an interview, because he's always like making shit up in interviews. So I'm sure it's something Hulk Hogan said, but it's probably not anything he had ever thought of until that very second that he made that lie.
Right. Right. It's just like when he said he was going to run for president and even announced it on Nitro, but then never did.
Right. Yeah, I mean, but don't get me wrong, Hogan, I don't believe that you had previously thought of it, but I think it's a great idea. And I think you could still do it now.
Nice. And here's a weird one. So Hulk and Carol Alt, now Miss Carol Alt Wright, because she married a guy whose last name is Wright. Anyway, they made a guest appearance promoting the series on the 1994 April Fool's Day edition of Larry King Live with guest host Kermit the Frog. Hogan's introduction to the Muppets here led to his cameo a few years later on Muppets from Space. Okay. What does that say about your show, though, if you're promoting it on a April Fool's Day episode of Larry King hosted by Kermit the Frog?
I don't know what that says, brother. You just got to hang loose.
Yeah, right, exactly. Of course, they mentioned the IMDb or the CDI game that you love so much. And apparently George Foreman was originally offered the role of Brew, but had to turn it down due to scheduling conflicts that prevented him from committing to the series. Boy, that would have been interesting.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been good.
No.
No,
what's up?
I was just going to say that I did notice that after the pilot, the hotel that's used is Disney's Grand Florida Resort.
That's right.
I don't know if you had mentioned that earlier,
I did.
But yeah, you can see that that's definitely getting some free advertising later on, like you mentioned.
Oh, absolutely. We should next time I'm in Florida, we should road trip there. Just go take a bunch of pictures and it's like, oh wow, here's the scene where they played volleyball, and here's the scene where the sexy nun girl like took off her clothes and revealed her hot bikini bod. I mean, that's stuff those are just memories that are going to last forever. Yahel, don't you want to be there to pay tribute?
Oh, absolutely. Steve, guess what? Somehow, even though I spent like 20 minutes earlier trying to find out about this set and I couldn't find anything, I just found out a bunch of information about the set from the prison.
Ooh, wow, do tell.
So I'm just going to read this verbatim. This is from touringplans.com. They have a whole page about Thunder in Paradise locations. Epcot fanboys may want to grab a box of Kleenex before reading this one because we're going to...
What? Wow, I got to remember that.
I'll wait while you go get your Kleenex. I know you're an Epcot fanboy.
I'll just use this comic book.
Just use your own.
Yeah.
Anyways, get your Kleenex because we're going to open up some old wounds. Starting in episode 4 of the series, See Quentin, the show started to use several locations from the Living Seas Pavilion in Epcot. Just as the attraction Horizon has its devoted fans, many people still fondly remember the hydrolators and more from the Living Seas. There is no bigger fan of The Seas with Nemo and Friends of Me, your humble author, but there is something magical about seeing old school Epcot on display at Thunder in Paradise. So the set is from the Living Seas Sea Base Alpha at Disney.
Okay, interesting.
Epcot.
Nice.
So yeah, and they actually show that like the area with the tube and stuff It looks like that was like the holding area before you went into the ride.
Ah, I see. Very cool.
So yeah.
All right. Well, mystery solved. Are you ready to render your verdict on this episode?
Oh yeah, let's do that. I forgot.
Remember or rated? That's the question.
All right, Mr. Velasquez. Do you think that Thunder in Paradise Season 1, Episode 4, See Quentin, should be remembered for all of human history, or tossed in the black void of obscurity, never to be heard from again?
I definitely say, no surprise, keep it. This was I mean, I've never watched an episode of Thunder in Paradise that I didn't enjoy in some form. But yeah, this was like a particularly enjoyable episode. Uh, like Sting really hams it up. Hogan hams it up. So yeah, and the locations look great. They're cool the way that they use them. Yeah, what say you?
Yeah, I'm pretty much right there with you. Although I will say that I felt like Hogan and Sting's confrontation at the end was a little rushed, left a little to be desired. But all the other stuff sort of makes up for it. Great set. Of course, the resort scenes kind of suck, but yeah, all the hamming it up between Sting and Hulk was just awesome. The futuristic prison that somehow exists in 1994. I mean, how could you not like that? So for all those reasons, Thunder in Paradise, Season 1, Episode 4, See Quentin, shall be remembered. In accordance to Obscurity Now, the most important streaming YouTube podcast in all of the internet, you shall be remembered. Yes. Good show. Good show. All right, I think we did a lot of good here today.
Yeah, and there are like two. I mean, the episode before this also had Sting in it as Hammerhead, so maybe we should have watched both of them. But there's besides the episode before this, there's another 2 episodes this season with Hammerhead in them. So he's in a total of 4 episodes. So
Nice.
I don't know. I just think we might have to at some point complete the Hammerhead
quadrilogy.
What do you call it when it's quadrilogy?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I was thinking it might even be his first acting role. That RoboCop ripoff show, Superforce. I'm like, should we do that one next? Like, I'm toying with the idea, but there's
this is now a Sting acting podcast.
I mean, why not? Just
he's in 3 episodes of Superforce.
Oh yeah, well there you go.
Yeah.
Well, we'll figure it out. So yes, in conjunction with WrestleMania, which has already happened, we will have a few more episodes this month that star wrestlers, either in TV or movies, or who knows what we'll dig up. So make sure you stick around for that next Sunday. Don't leave your computer. Stay there until next Sunday. We'll be there, I promise. And of course, we've got a day and a half left on the Escape to Earth Issue 3 Kickstarter. So if you haven't backed, please stop by and check it out, because next Sunday, I won't mention it at all, I promise, because it'll be over. And if you don't back, I will reach through you and over you and resurrect myself in your nightmares, brother. Anything else to add there, Mr. Velasquez, before we sign off?
No, but Smoke Monster in the chat mentioned that he just passed a wrestling episode of The Munsters, full of wrestlers from the 60s.
Why? Would you even know any of those wrestlers?
Maybe like a couple. I don't know. Depends who it is, I guess.
Yeah, that might be
probably like Gorgeous George is in there. I bet
the only one I know. It's like
maybe Luthez
the
or
original
something.
Ric Flair, the original Nature Boy, Buddy Rogers.
The original Ric Flair.
Wow,
is he a clone?
There you go. He's an immortal, is what he is.
I see.
Yeah,
my apologies.
I meant to mention what was the last thing we? Oh yeah, that Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestlers. Did you stick around to the credits, because that that grab we watched, or that YouTube video, it was taken from USA Network, and then the voice over came in on the credits and was advertising an episode of Highlander, the animated series. Did you hear that?
No, I did not.
I don't know. Just a fun little obscure fact I thought I'd mention.
Why would you make a children's cartoon about a guy that has to decapitate
Hey,
other people?
we reviewed 2 RoboCop cartoons.
Yeah, and hey, Rambo got a cartoon.
Yeah,
So for
yeah,
kids,
we're gonna have to get to that someday too. But I'm gonna see. Sasquatch Time says that was back when it was just men in diapers. Yeah, that's '60s wrestling right there. Men in diapers. Ugh. All right. Well, if there isn't anything else, shall we call it?
Yep. Let's get out of
All
here.
right.
Thanks everybody for watching.
Yes,
Appreciate
we'll
it.
see you next Sunday. Bye-bye.
I'm having a weird day. The name's Adam. Where I'm from, I'm known as the Zero Thief. Depending on who you ask, some might say I'm the best thief. But believe it or not, even the best screws up every once in a while, and that's what I did, and I had to make a fast getaway. I ended up crash landing on this bizarre planet. Turns out, I didn't get away fast enough. These winged freaks followed me here.
It's just us here, Zero Thief, on this empty backwoods planet. So start talking, either to me or my blade.
Okay, I do have something to tell you. It's about the planet. It's not that empty. Come on, man, I thought you were gonna duck. Cut me loose. Cut me loose. Behind you. Whoa! Thought I was done for. It was gonna be a light snack for a snarling creature, but then she showed up, riding on the back of one of those monsters like it was nothing. And with a wave of her hand, the other razor-toothed beast just stomped away. I'd never seen anyone like her before in my life. I thought I'd say something clever. Thanks, have you seen my ship? She gave me a look that said more than words ever could, because I think she was trying to read my mind or something. And from there, things just got even weirder. Escape to Earth. Issue 3, The Dinosaur Stampede. Crowdfunding now, only on Kickstarter. Get it now before it's extinct. You've been enjoying Obscurity Now, a podcast that's recorded live to tape and streamed to Twitch and YouTube. Subscribe so you never miss an episode or hilarious quip. Take us with you by following the download links provided in the show notes to wherever you get podcasts. And take notice of our various social media links. If that's what you're into, I'm not here to judge. And make sure you join us live next week at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific as we continue to discuss more obscure media only on Obscurity Now.